Hello and welcome back to Cargo Cafe. As always, I'm your host, Sylvie Hausman. I'm joined here today by Chance Pope, Senior Director of International Services at Bestway. Chance, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Good. It's been a while since you've been on the show, but you have been here before.
I have. Yeah, I'm happy to be back and really excited about today's topic and the guests we have today.
Yeah, I think we have some really awesome guests today, and I think you're the perfect person to talk to them and be a part of this discussion. So, really looking forward to it. Today we have Frank Markovitz and Lazar Pekovic from Cargomind here to talk about some emerging Eastern European markets. Frank is the station manager in Vienna as well as the product manager of European air freight for Cargomind. He has over 30 years of experience in logistics and air freight, having held key positions throughout the industry. He started in air freight operations at SPE Trans and moved into senior management at Schnitker, where he led air freight operations and product development for Central and Eastern Europe. As managing director in Bulgaria, he led 350 employees, expanded warehouse capacity, and positioned the company as a market leader. Most recently, he was air product manager for Austria and Slovakia at Expeditors and managing director for JCL Logistics in Eastern Austria, where he developed expertise in operational efficiency and customer-focused solutions. Since December of 2024, he's been leading Cargomind's Vienna office at the airport as station manager and driving European air freight initiatives as product manager, assuring high-quality service and tailored solutions for clients across the region. We're super excited to have Frank here. He's going to be a great resource for talking about all things Eastern European markets. We also have Lazar Pekovic, a managing director at Cargomind. Lazar holds a master's degree in economics from the University of Nice and started his career in 2012 as a European contract logistics. In 2016, he joined Delta Transportation Systems, or DTS, as air and ocean freight manager. He was later promoted to head manager of international transport, overseeing global operations in air, sea, road, and rail. In addition, he served as the group director for business development before being appointed as managing director for DTS subsidiaries in the Balkans in 2021. Lazar joined Cargomind in 2024 as managing director for Serbia. Under his leadership, Cargomind Serbia has become one of the leading logistics providers in the region, known for its reliability, efficiency, and customer-focused solutions. Since 2025, Lazar has additionally taken on the role of managing director for Cargomind Bosnia and Herzegovina. And yes, I've been practicing saying that all morning, and I probably still butchered it, but that's all right. We have some experts here to talk to us, so let's bring out Frank and Lazar. Hello.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Excited to be with you. Thanks for the invite, and it's a pleasure to present Cargomind for your Cargo Cafe.
Yeah, absolutely. We're excited to have you guys in today. Good evening for you guys, I'm assuming.
Yes, start of the evening, let's put it that way. But you know, in logistics, it's a different, working time. So 24/7 in air freight is common. So, but thanks for having us. Great pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. We're super excited to have you guys on. A little behind the scenes, you're our first international guest, so we're really excited and really praying that our internet connection stays stable.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, Frank, I think you wanted to talk to us a little bit about Cargomind before we jump into it.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. And thanks for the nice intro, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope I didn't butcher any of those words too terribly bad.
No, all fine.
Yeah, so I think you have a presentation for us.
Yes, we have prepared some slides, which I'm happy to present and to bring you Cargomind closer, especially showing you the capabilities, what we have in terms in the region and the expertise, what we're having. Let's go straight into it. Let's start with the first slide.
Yeah.
Here's some points about Cargomind in generally. I think one of the most important, also for me as well, coming from a background of various companies, it needs to be highlighted. It's family owned with the headquarters in Vienna. So actually the headquarters itself is, I'm sitting at the airport office, but the headquarters is around 50 minutes by drive. So very close, also close to the highway. The company itself was founded in 2005. Our president and owner, Uwe Glaser, with more than 60 years experience in the field of logistics, is still active. I'm really happy and proud to say that already 2 generations are also within the company. I will come to that back later, what it means to us, especially also for the employees. But as said, 2 generations are on board. So everything's set for a bright future, I would say. Currently, we are operating in 33 offices, 17 countries across Central and Eastern Europe. The backbone is definitely air freight. This is where it all started. But overall, of course, we are offering air, ocean, and road freight solutions. Ocean freight grew a lot in the last couple of years. It's really catching up and close to air freight. Also, a very great team there. In overall, we have more than meanwhile 360 logistic experts in the countries. From the warehouse capacity, we are offering, as you can see, more than 21,000 square meters across Europe. Independence, flexibility, and customer focus. You hear that very often, but this is really something which is top high on the agenda, and this is the way we are acting. At the end of the day, we are showing quite nice growth figures, speaking about 128 million turnover and plus 78,000 shipments in 2025. I will break this down later during the slides. If you would go, please, to the next one. Hey, and by the way, any questions, so please feel free to ask. Lars and I am more than happy to answer that. On this page, you can see the coverage where Cargomind is currently operating. So as you can see, this goes from UK down to Milano, up to Ukraine, where we still, during the difficult days, an office active. Of course, it's not an easy one, but the office in Kiev is still active, and our people are working there. The latest update, what I can tell you is that the recent stations or countries we got involved with is in Netherlands with Amsterdam, quite new, where we set up an office also for air and ocean. Then the other office is in Milano, Italy, where we're getting active with staff there, also local staff. And Bosnia, not to forget, right, Lazar? This was also last couple of weeks, so which will be coordinated through the Belgrade office, but I'm sure Lazar will get back to that one as well. What is interesting maybe to mention, a lot of cultures, a lot of different histories behind, but if you see with the headquarters in Vienna, if you nail it down, everything is quite reachable compared to the US, which is a far more bigger country. But distance-wise, I would say in between 1,000 kilometers up to 600, you get connected everything. And related, as an example, for air freight, we are currently looking in streamlining our capabilities, going a little bit into the gateway function in working that out, but always in focus of customer solutions and product, not so much like other ones in, let's say, streamlining processes, getting unflexible. So we are quite quick in adjusting to the needs what we have. If you, for example, consider the situation in near Middle East, which had a huge impact, especially not only, of course, also ocean freight now with the Strait of Hormuz, but in Vienna and in Europe especially were hit quite hard with losing the flights, for example, from the near Middle Eastern carriers like Emirates, Etihad, but as well there. I mean, this was troubleshooting. We really performed high and also satisfied at the end of the day the customers. Yeah, that's it. Maybe we go to the next slide, please. So what makes us unique? I mean, excellence, as stated here, we prioritize excellence every step of the way. We select partnerships. What we mean by that is basically we have a really close relationship, and we are seeking for a close relationship, not only to customers, but also to vendors, to our partners, and everybody involved in the whole supply chain to give them the best let's say, experience what they can have. Also very flexible, very fast and quick in decision making. Competence is another one. We have a bright expertise in all relevant areas. So that means we have really a good mix of colleagues and teams. We have guys being very long time on the airline side, knowing the business in and out. Of course, logistics. We have our own customs clerks who are running through quite extensive training. This is also one asset which we really are proud of, and definitely going to push in future as a kind of a consulting base also for our customers. And of course, I mean, selecting transport routes and customs concepts is something we are definitely also very good in, and also very quick in decision making. As I said before, coming back, I mean, it's quite a benefit, and it's a great thing to work for a company where you have really quick decision making, really lean hierarchy, which helps at the end everybody working on their daily jobs. Experience with the strong team, I covered that already via the competence. But as I said, we have maybe something to add there as well, which is a differentiation from my point of view to many others. Besides the quite huge network what we're having, I think we can be proud of that the country management is from local staff. So like Lhasa, they know the culture, they know how to move in the market, they can adjust quite flexible and fast as well. So this is definitely also an advantage what we are showing. Flexibility, I mentioned there also a lot, but I believe what is the difference between Cargomind and many others is we are listening to the customers. So we want to find out whether they have the bottlenecks. We adjust the processes rather than defining products which are fitting to our company, like many big ones. I'm not mentioning names now, but I have also experienced there. And this is, at least for me, on a daily basis, really fun to work, because you adjust to the customer needs and you try to serve the customer. Like I always say, they break it, we fix it, you know. So that's for us the key. Service agility, basically ending in all what I said. So the top-notch service is for us key. Fast reaction times is key. Communication is key. For example, in air freight, we have the standard. We really try for general quotations or concept routing, whatever challenges the customer might face, that we come back to the customer within 2 hours as a max. So, of course, if you have DG, pharma shipments, that's a different story. But overall, the 2 hours are our benchmark, I have to say. Yeah. If we go to the next slide, please. Air freight, yes. Also mentioned, but this goes over the products, basically in general, customized instead of standardized solutions, careful routing planning. So yes, we do have kind of consolidations products running, but if a customer says, you know, this needs to run quick, or any special value added on top, we are doing that, adjusting, let's say, the bookings super flexible, and make sure that the customer is happy and that the goods are there in time wherever needed. And this is, of course, not only door to airport or airport to airport. This is the full supply chain, including warehousing, and it goes without saying that we are also offering the full picture of products like pharma, perishable, DG, and what have you. So we cover the whole aspects, including charter on board courier, for example. So overall, in 2025, in air freight, we had roughly around about $65 million, and we were flying 46,000 shipments. So the ratio between export and import is nearly 50-50, a little bit more in export. But overall in export, for example, we moved 15 million kgs. On the import side, 60 million kgs. The shipment on the shipment side, it's the other way around. It's a little bit more on the export side. What is also interesting to mention, all offices are directly at the airport. This is especially in Europe. As far as we see, there is a tendency of many of the big forwarders to go off airport, or at least part with the operational stuff off airport. So I think this is also in the DNA. We want to be with the cargo. We want to be right at the airport. This gives us more chances to get involved in process adjustments. We have a super good relationship in many countries to the handling agents, which is also very important to have. For example, in Austria, if a shipment arrives, if it's really super urgent, we get it out between 3 to 4 hours on average. On the export side, I had one case where we load in an ULD, so a flight pallet, 1.5 hours before uplift. So this is quite amazing considering big airports. But besides that, of course, we're not losing sight of bigger airports like Frankfurt and Amsterdam. But we are choosing airports, as I said, according to the needs to the customer, instead of rolling out big consolidations, running into troubles like Frankfurt had during the crisis a couple of times, where the competition really had huge challenges. What I've heard from airlines and so on. Concerning the ranking, this is what we are also very proud of. According IATA ranking CAS, in all the countries, you will find us in the top 5. And this is, let's say, for our company, we are very proud of that. And of course, we want to do better. We will do better, I'm quite sure. But it's a good development overall, considering the current, let's say, global economic crisis. Yeah. So then let's switch to ocean freight. In ocean freight, 2025, we had a net sales of 55 million US dollars. As I said, they're catching up. We have a big team, at least for Austria. We have centralized the whole operation. It's a big team. Also a good mix between, let's say, well-experienced guys and young stars, as we call them. A huge potential there. We had around about 46,000 shipments last year in ocean freight. It's similar to air freight, 50-50 divided between export and import. And we have the offices in the harbors or directly at the harbor in Hamburg, in Koper, and in Constanța, Romania. So this gives us also some flexibility on the southern ports, northern ports, and Romania. This also for certain kind of, let's say, commodities, super interesting. We are also there directly at the harbor. And last but not least, what I have to mention, and I told our ocean freight guys, I'm air freight, but I told them I have to say that because I'm also very proud of that. They started their own LCL console box out of Shanghai. So it's running since some month already. The routing is Shanghai Koper. It has currently 8 departures per month. And the clear goal is to reduce the transit time from CFS, means station to station, by around about 30 days. The utilization is very well. The product is very, very is recognized and meanwhile very appreciated from various customers. And I think the fastest transit time was what they managed is to do 36 days, which is really a super product. And I'm quite sure once the crisis in the Middle East, I hope it gets more quiet and there's going to be some solution. This is definitely one product we will focus on also in future and develop even further. Yeah. Good. I think then we should have something about the road transport. Yes. Okay. Of course, we have also road transport in our whole product portfolio. There, it's worth to mention that the road freight product for us, of course, it's the general FTL and LTL loads what you have throughout Europe, where we have also a team dedicated to that. It's running very well. It's all for Austria. It's situated also in our head office. We are with our own warehouse, and besides that, our core product is definitely the high-tech industry, basically white glove services, and the differentiation to the market. What we are having there is we are running our own trucks. So it's all hard-bodied trucks with tail lift. There are 2 drivers, and to give you just an example, for we are doing for the banks, we are doing the exchange of ATMs, and including technicians who are working there. We are doing a lot in the healthcare industry, delivering at the place, at the doctors, at hospitals, etc. So this is really, I would say, state of the art. So at least, more than 35 years in the industry, I don't know anybody else who can do that. So and these guys are equipped with a specific and dedicated it's kind of forklifts and equipment, which is really top-notch quality in terms of transport and really last mile into the let's say into the place where you have to build up the whole healthcare setup for dentists and what have you. Yeah. So this is really top-notch. Besides that, of course, we are using them also, for example, for air freight. If we have quick shots or any special value added, we're using our guys. They are specialists. They know what they do. And we are even considering, because what we have seen, at least from the air side, that the customers are really appreciating if you're coming with our own trucks and well-educated drivers, that this makes also a difference. I always say it's like of a business card. The drivers and the trucks, if you deliver a pickup, they have the name card on their chest every day. So this has to function. So also a super setup from my point of view, and we're definitely going to develop this also for the first and last mile in air freight, at least. But we are also having talks together with Ocean that we combine something there. Yeah. Then I think the last one should be warehousing. Correct. I mentioned already we have more than 21,000 square meters warehousing space in the region. Flexible pop-up warehousing. I want to elaborate a little bit on this one. Just recently, 1 hour before we had the call, I got from a former colleague a message that he has a customer. He's in the south of Austria. 700 up to 1,000 square meters warehouse if we are capable of helping him out. So and also I had Paul, who is my boss, in the office. It was a 1-minute talk and said, of course, we're going to do it. So I'm waiting for the details. We're going to arrange that and off you go. You see, so that means with family-owned company and let's say the focus and the support and also the drive what they're having, the whole family, this is really short, a short decision, and you make the customer happy. So this is what we are striving for. Besides that, the places are of course TAPA certified, and the vertical markets what we are also looking or let's say targeting there is as I said before, the high-tech industry, white glove. But overall, if it's we can do basically everything. Where we currently looking into, where we need to do a little bit of setup overall in terms of warehousing is the pharma segment, with the GDP certification, everything, and then connecting it with air freight. We have a little bit work to do there, but work has started, and I'm looking forward to roll it out hopefully soon. But this is still in the making. Yeah. So. Yeah, well, I think that's it. Looking on the time, I hope I did not talk too much. But I was happy to show you a little bit about our Cargomind family. Well, then I would hand over back to you, Livy.
Yeah, that was awesome. Thank you for that. That was super detailed. We appreciate that. I did have one question as we kind of transition to our main topic for you. Global supply chains are obviously continuing to evolve. Where do you see the biggest opportunities coming for Cargomind, and how are you positioning your company to kind of work with this changing industry?
Yeah, first of all, I strongly believe in the strategy what we are having. So definitely one point will be a further extension in the network, covering more countries in Europe. I mean, with my Bulgaria background, I had already talks to, and I think he would like to start sooner than later, opening up an office in Bulgaria. So I think to strive for the extension in the coverage in Europe is definitely one of our prime assets and what we're going to continue. Then, as I said, the pharma sector is something we are targeting. I think with our unique product on the high-tech side, we are also extending their value-added services. And then as it goes for ocean freight, with the LCL product, for example, we're gonna roll it out further. And combined with the Cargomind family within the countries in the ideas what we're having, I think for the products itself, it's simply a healthy growth, not losing sight of the customer needs and not being too much what we definitely are not. Talking about my history, and in many companies having too many internal, process adjustments and analysis and KPIs and what have you. I want to be with the customer, so this is my motto, and I think this is also Cargomind overall. We are really customer focused.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want to get into talking about some of those emerging European markets that you mentioned. Lazar, I'm going to position this one for you. How would you describe economical and industrial growth happening across Eastern Europe today? And what sectors are you seeing showing the most momentum there?
Hello to everyone. So, what to say? Economic situation in Eastern Europe is certainly a very complex topic. In most EU countries, GDP ratio generally is showing stagnation or very slow growing. Still, living standard in EU countries is much better than in non-EU countries. I don't know, are you aware which countries are non-EU in Southeast Europe, which are EU? Generally, when we are seeing non-EU countries, it's Western Balkan countries, like Serbia, Bosnia, North Macedonia, Albania, Montenegro. So faster integration in open market, free movement of goods without any borders and customs clearance, and no low weightings of the trucks on the borders make EU countries more attractive in business sense. For example, trucks on Serbian and Hungarian border or on Croatian is in average waiting 16 hours just in one side to wait across. It means that a lot of time is losing. Also, nowadays you have some system which European Commission involved from Western Balkan countries, which means that drivers need to wait 80 or 90 days in 180 days in EU, which makes this situation more complex. We hope that this will resolve soon, but still, Western countries, Western Balkan countries where Serbia and Bosnia is located is not such attractive like it is for US countries or for Southeastern European countries. If we are looking for Western Balkan countries, still the biggest trade is with EU countries, but EU country and United States is growing rapidly. You asked me about the sectors. If we are looking the sectors, I think political situation is making it more complex. Right now, energetic sector is in focus in terms of fuel and oil. So fuel and gas market rates increasing daily due to situation in Iran and Russia. So energetic sector is on the first place. If this situation is not going to finish shortly, I think we are going to be in biggest trouble. It's right now. Second one is certainly automotive sector. Stagnation and non-competitive in EU car production in comparison with Asia, especially with China, means that in sector of e-cars, Asia is more competitive at the end. It means that US companies can reach out the full potential in this field. You have an example, Tesla production in Germany nowadays. On the other side, we have also infrastructure sector, which is growing very rapidly in last 10 years in Southeast European market. Corridor 10 and 11 is already built. Fast rail connection is making. So I think this will be the topic for the later on for the talk. Also, logistics sector is growing. square meters of new build and rented warehouse rising year by year as well, and tons in air freight, like Frank mentioned, a number of TU. So all sector in logistics in Southeast Europe is growing year by year, and also investment in transport infrastructure is huge. The real issue here is that Western Balkan countries, like I mentioned, Serbia, Bosnia, and all others, are not part of your European integrated market, and it makes situation more complex. If it will happen to change in next 5 years, I think we can talk more about the progress. And it's the end. It's IT sector as well. We have here that highly educated people and young people is working in IT. They have a very easy approach to US market. They have opportunity to work from home, so they have flexible location on the working place. So I think that's more or less, I think, the same for this topic.
Excellent. When we talk about manufacturing in Southeast Europe, it's becoming increasingly integrated into the wider European supply chains. What advantages does that create for companies sourcing from your region?
Yeah, Southeast European countries manufacturing are more or less fully integrated into European supply chains. But still, Western Balkan countries' production and supply chains are still more independent, as I explained, due to customs clearance procedure, long waiting on the borders. What to say? The biggest advantage will be standards of the products and quality to be the same for entire area. So if you are going to buy some product in France, Hungary, or even in Serbia, it has to be the same. If we are not going to have it, that it will make a problem. So that's the biggest advantage from my point of view. And also advantage could be that Southeast Europe market could be smaller cost production at the end. It will be competitive. So production will be more competitive in terms of labors, in terms of raw materials, and all other things.
Yeah, so you kind of already touched on this, but for U.S. companies looking to reduce their dependency on Asia, where do you see specifically Serbia and Bosnia standing as an alternative sourcing destination?
Oh, in that terms, it's really specific. I believe that many of you know that Serbia or ex-Yugoslavia drivers working in the United States and driving trucks. Mm-hmm. In that addition, many of dispatchers currently working in Serbia and routing the trucks in United States. Everyone who understands logistics and has good knowledge in English like to work in this field. It's a good salary, flexible working hours, possibility to earn more, and so on. Good for Serbian and Bosnian laborers is that it's very knowledgeable and still more or less cheap. Huge percentage of high educated people is certainly advantage for both countries, so for Bosnia and for Serbia. Salaries are rising year by year, but it's still not like in European Union and United States. The sectors which has the most advantage for certainly is IT, automotive, logistics sector, food production, FMCG at the end. And this is very related with operational flexibility at the end. It could be on the higher level. But what we don't see here is production compatibility. It certainly could not be compared like in Asia. This market is very small, like Frank explained, it's 1,000 kilometers. It's really close here. All countries here is really small. Serbia and Bosnia together has 10,000 people. So in that option, we don't have big production compatibility. Right. We need to focus on something which is really smart, and that's quality or high-tech solutions. We need to find our own niche where to work. Otherwise, we are not competitive.
If I may add there, fully underline what Laza is saying, but what I especially during my travels and also during the time in Bulgaria, what I saw what Laza said, the salary comparison with Asia, especially China. And then with COVID and the crisis, what you had, I mean, this definitely had an impact on the supply chain overall. So by meaning that a lot of bigger companies, even medium-sized companies, they were like, they were thinking and partly also doing it in defragmenting the supply chains, meaning they brought in some of the productions back into the EU. Laza definitely pointed out the challenges with the border crossing, but if you look into Bulgaria and Romania, a certain production went back to Europe. So out of that, what we learned from the crisis, I mean, this is something what I still hear from customers, and I'm expecting this to be continued to a certain level. But it all depends, like Laza said, also on the European, how to say, political development and how this rolls out at the end of the day.
Thanks for that, Frank. Lazar, you've mentioned automotive and IT. When you say IT, I'm assuming that's more service related versus chip manufacturing, anything like that. But are there any other industries that U.S. importers should be paying close attention to in the region?
I think it's more or less the all. So IT is on the first place, that's for sure. Automotive, it's in risk, it's in stagnation generally, but still it could be an opportunity. Logistics sector, like I mentioned, food production in FMCG, it's a huge opportunity in this part of Europe. Maybe furniture industry could be an opportunity, but generally, I think United States is already represented very well in Europe, and they need to find some other alternatives. But still, this is the focus where they can work on.
Yeah, you've mentioned food production a couple of times. What specifically makes it such a good opportunity for those types of industries?
I think it's about the climate. Climate in this part of the Europe it's really nice, and it means that besides France or Italy, wine production in this part of the Europe is really famous, and it's not popular in the United States, for instance. So if you are looking for this part of the Europe, you need to look out for Serbian, Romanian, Moldavian wines, because it's really nice, really perfect.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I'm going to be looking out for those for sure.
I know, but that's the fact. Also, regular food industry. If you're looking for vegetables, fruits, or all others different products in that sense.
Yeah. So one of the biggest concerns for importers is always infrastructure. How have logistics networks, road connectivity, inland transport, and access to major ports improved across Eastern Europe in recent years?
Yes, that's a really interesting topic. European, if we are talking about all European countries like Germany, Austria, Italy, it's really well developed.
Right.
In the Southeast European area, it was really pure infrastructure till 20 years ago. After that, in 2010, 2015, it's starting growing rapidly from Poland up to Croatia. Nowadays, Romania, Serbia, and Bulgaria are really leaders in this field. A lot of new highways, kilometers has been built. Also, fast rail connections. Really big opportunity in this sense. If we are talking about transport capacity and infrastructure in that sense, Port Koper and Rijeka, like Frank mentioned, is one of the biggest for the entire area, for the Balkan, for Serbia and Bosnia especially. We have new container terminal in Rijeka, which is opened last year, which will double the capacity in Rijeka. It will be up to 1 million TEU per year. In just 5 years ago, it was 300,000 TEU, which is tripled. Also, Port Koper investing a lot of money in rail capacity. They have project which is calling Tier 2 project, which means they will double or triple in next 3 years full capacity of rail from Koper up to Budapest, up to Vienna, or to other hubs in the Europe. On the other side, We have fast rail connection between Belgrade and Budapest, which is opened in this year, which giving opportunity that Serbian cargo can easily reach United States cargo just in 20 days. Right now, from Rijeka or from Koper, we don't have direct call in terms of shipping liners. And then we need to wait at least 45 days just from Rijeka or Koper up to the New York or Savannah, never mind. So from Bremerhaven or from Hamburg, we will have opportunity to have cargo from Belgrade up to 20 days in maximum, which means a lot for our industry and for our exports. Also, there is projects in dry port terminals. I already mentioned Belgrade and Budapest. In Serbia, 7 dry port terminals opened in the last 10 years, which is good number in terms that Serbia just 7 million people at the end.
Wow.
And also really important information is that, like Frank mentioned about the airports, Belgrade and Budapest investing a lot in terms of developing of the airports, and it's the most important for time-sensitive cargo at the end. So if you need to have some cargo in 24 hours, if you don't have good infrastructure in that sense, you will not going to have a shipment. So for sure, infrastructure is today's a topic and will be in next years because it's still a lot of opportunities for developing.
Would you say?
Sorry for interrupting, because this I want to add from the air point of view. Maybe to give you one example, 15 to 20 years ago, I think not many people know that being not in Europe. I mean, you always talk about big airports like Frankfurt, Amsterdam, London, Milano. Of course, they're super important. We use them. Everything's fine. Budapest was not really on the card as it comes to air cargo. Budapest over the last 20, 15 years really extensively invested and really developed in especially Asia to Europe big time. So they're moving partly per day 15 to 25 cargo freighters into Budapest. So in Budapest, Vienna is truck traveling time around about 3 hours. So this gives us a super flexibility, access to let's say to Asia, what we didn't have before. They even introduced now a service to the US and Canada as well. So I definitely can confirm what Lazar said, partly really huge investments and also long-term strategies. So this is going to be interesting also for the next upcoming years. Just wanted to add that. Sorry, Lazar.
No, yeah, that was great.
I'm just curious. You've mentioned, Frank, you mentioned the situation in the Middle East taking capacity out of the market for some of the Middle Eastern carriers. Lazar, you've talked about some of the border challenges. Does working with a partner, I know from our perspective, working with a partner like Cargomind that has coverage across the region helps us. But from a shipper's perspective, from a buyer's perspective, what advantages does Cargomind give, considering that they have coverage across EU, non-EU, the coverage in the different larger gateways such as Frankfurt, Milan, and those? Can you speak on that?
Sure. Lazar, you wanna please go ahead.
If you want to ship cargo from United States to Europe, our team will advise where is the best option or opportunity to move cargo. So if you have some cargo for Croatia, and if there is backlog somewhere in Zagreb or in Ljubljana, our team will advise the guys better to book cargo to Frankfurt or to Vienna, and then we will truck it from there. That means that makes our team or Cargomind more specific than the other companies. Also, if there is some cargo related for non-EU countries, what we are going to do, we will take a shift on the border, which is better to cross down the border. In some period of the days, border is not so crowded. Then we will truck our truck and driver to go there and to skip the border more easily and to deliver cargo on the fastest possible way. That's from my perspective. What Cargomind has like advantage in terms of coverage of all 17 countries we are covering across Europe. Sorry, Frank.
No, fine. Perfect, perfect answer. Nothing more, more to add from my side. Yeah, as Laza said, I mean, we had the crisis near Middle East, which meant for us basically, for speaking about Vienna, Austria, you're losing from one day to another 60% of the freighter capacity. We had, for example, one shipment of 1.5 tons for Formula One race sitting on the tarmac outside on it was Qatar. And I mean, nobody was getting airborne at that time. So Emirates had placed two A380. I think they placed even one flight from JFK, which stopped here because of the, let's say, bombardment they were facing. So this was a couple of calls in between the stations. We had a chance to get the cargo out of the belly, and we moved it then via Frankfurt out with another routing. This is, as I said before and during the presentation, as it's on really high speed, we're being flexible in using the stations and not being linked or let's say contracted with major airlines where you have to fill big, huge capacity. Of course, we do that when it makes sense. But we are not running into troubles that we are losing out flexibility, because I think this is the most important. Stay flexible and keep a close watch on the risk which might appear on the horizon.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, being flexible right now is critical. It's actually one of our core values at Best Way, but I think across the industry as a whole, it's just all about flexibility right now.
Agreed.
And you know, believe it or not, that's our time. So I really want to thank you guys for joining us today. I think you provided some really valuable insights. Definitely we'll share your information with our audience if anyone wants to reach out and chat in more in depth about any of these topics. Again, thank you so much for your time. I know it's a little later in the evening for you guys, so staying a little later to chat with us was super amazing. So
quick shout out to Stefan for joining. He's one of the future generations from the founder of Cargomind as well.
Oh, amazing.
So,
yeah, exactly. And he's the guy who made it happen with our LCL product. So
absolutely.
Very good
Shout out there.
Yeah. Hey guys, it was a pleasure being with you. It was super interesting. I hope we could answer most of your questions. As you said, Livy, any question might arise, please reach out to us. Laza and I and the whole Cargomind team and family is there to support. Much appreciated. Thank you for the interesting call, and I'm wishing you all the best.
Yeah, you guys as well.
Cheers.
All the best from my side as well. Thank you a lot.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Bye-bye.